Are you safe from AI? Are the machines coming to take over? Today, we're going to unpack whether AI is something to run from or embrace or something to use within your business. Really, really excited to unpack it today. Welcome back to Montreal's Elite Unleashed. I'm your host, Logan Boyce. With me, as always, Jonathan Ehrlich. How are you doing, buddy?
What's up?
Really excited to be talking about AI today. I think it's a buzzword, to say the least. Wouldn't you agree?
100%.
Yeah.
It's the buzziest word. I think 2023 exploded with AI everywhere, with all the cool things that people started realizing AI could do.
Yep.
And then people started wondering, what can't AI do?
Yeah. That's so much fear for people's jobs. And I'm the first person to be fearful of AI. I'm always so polite to my Alexa and my Siri. Because listen, I know they're running the algorithm. So I'm like, man, if they're going to take over and start killing us all, at least they know I was polite and maybe I can be like a nice servant for them or something.
Dude,
right?
my Google Home actually says that when I say thank you. It's like, not for nothing, but they do say Canadians are very friendly.
No way it says that.
Yeah, it totally does. Whenever I'm like, thank you, Google, it's like, oh, you're so nice.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah, so I actually do thank my Google Home.
Yeah. My wife always laughs at me when I say thank you to Alexa. She's like, yeah, Alexa, can you turn on the lights? And it's like, yeah, okay, cool. And I'm like, oh, thanks so much, Alexa. I really appreciate it. My wife's looking at me like I'm absolutely insane.
What are you doing?
But yeah, so it's funny because that's technically not actually AI, but our brains think it is, because there's a huge difference between an if this then that protocol versus actual machine learning versus actual artificial intelligence.
Well, yeah, because Alexa and Google Home, they're in our homes already. But then now there's something new. Like, I knew Google was doing this thing called, was it Duplex? Is that what it's called? Google Duplex?
I'm not sure.
It was where it had a calling model. And it would book appointments for you and
100%,
stuff.
yeah. They're still working on that.
It's crazy. But now it's like we've confused what AI really is.
Yep.
Because we got so used to what these other formulas were that would do things, that connected things and made things automate.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people got confused too because they don't realize how common an if this then that protocol really is. Every single thing we do on our computer, whether it's clicking the X button or opening Safari or opening our mail account, that's an if this then that protocol. Because it says, if you click this anywhere in this location, perform this task. If you click the send button, perform this task. If you click here, you do this, you perform whatever action, we're going to respond by performing another action. That's an if this then that protocol. The only thing that's different, of course, is that the technology with things like Alexa and Siri and Google Assistant and everything, they've been able to create the action, whether it's a click or whatever, they've been able to translate that into, oh, this person said something. And that's going to be the prompt to perform whatever action. But it's not actually learning per se. Not to the extent that like OpenAI or something is. That's an actual artificial intelligence module where it's growing, it's changing at all times.
So I guess the thing that I would want to get into first is we're talking about AI, but we're obviously not working in a lab being AI developers or anything like that.
Certainly not.
So what gives us the credentials to even be able to talk about AI?
Well, we're using it pretty well. Within our business, and it's scary, but we know what it can do, what it can't do, and we're doing our best to stay on top of the things that are working. Having this thing be able to automate some of your tasks, I think is huge, and we'll get into exactly what tasks it's very good at automating right now and what we think could happen in the future. But I think using it for email is awesome. But there's a difference between having the AI take over communication versus the AI taking over actual connection with somebody. I think there's a huge difference. And, you'd probably speak better to that because, you've built your business so much based on the personal connections that you have with your past clients and sphere of influence. And
yeah, I think the thing is right now, AI kind of really feels more like it's like generative fill. And it's not really, like you said, it's not learning. It's taking stuff that it already has and it's kind of connecting all of the dots and building out from there. But it can do some really cool stuff. But to your point, it's communicating, but it's not connecting with people.
Right.
So you kind of have to look at it like, okay, well, are we safe? Are our jobs ever going to get taken over by AI? Well, in its current, stages and state, no, because it can't do what it would need to do in order to be able to take over human connection.
Yeah.
But it can simplify communication to keep you top of mind and to keep on top of tasks.
Yeah.
But, we learned a lot about kind of the limitations of AI with the Zapier Connect and with a couple of the other things that we've done, which have been super enlightening. So I guess what are the limitations that people can expect with AI currently? And
I think one of the best analogies I heard, I don't remember who said it, it might be ERS's chief operating officer, but he equated AI to an exoskeleton. So have you seen those things that the guys wear at like car factories and everything? So it's a human being and they wear this robot suit basically.
I go to like what's her face from Alien, where she's in like the giant mech suit.
Don't be mad. I've never seen that movie.
Oh no!
Don't be mad, dude.
Oh man!
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Maybe. So I can't speak to that. But yeah. So it's these guys, and normally you're limited by the physical strength of a human being, but anybody of any size, whether man, woman, doesn't matter, can wear this exoskeleton suit and pick up a car. Can literally because it's all got all the hydraulics built into the thing, and you can lift insane weight.
Yeah.
So I don't think AI is really going to take too many people's jobs, but I think what it is going to do is it's going to empower people to do much better work, because every piece of technology that's come out in the last X amount of time has really been designed to save you time. And this is just another piece to that puzzle. It's another way of saying, hey, instead of being bogged down with the stupid minutia of X, Y, or Z every single day, have AI handle that kind of BS work for you, so you can focus on building what it is you're trying to build, or focus on accomplishing the larger tasks that really, really require a human brain to wrap its head around. And sometimes it's just a great sounding board. I don't know about you, but that's one of the main things I use AI for, is like, hey, I'm trying to build this. What do you think?
It's so funny that you say that, because it can inspire you. It can be inspiring to do things that you wouldn't have thought to do. And that's it. You plug it in and you use it as a sounding board. And it's like, well, but have you thought about this?
Yeah.
That's super cool. And that's literal. That is a super literal way to think about it. But I'm enamored with film and with videography and stuff like that. And one of the things that AI has jumped into now is being able to build out clean plates, so it can take a shot and then it can wipe away everything that you don't want in the shot, and then put something over it. So it would use your movements as a motion capture kind of data. And it takes that motion capture data and then puts a skin over top of it. And I used this when I created some social media videos where I turned myself into an alien, or I turned myself into a robot.
Oh, we're all very aware of Glork. We all know and love his work.
Everybody knows and loves Glork. He's a big deal around here. But that was all done with literally 3 clicks of a button.
That's
and
insane.
It looks so impressive. So then the community comes out and they're like, whoa, wait a minute. If you could do that with 3 clicks, then our job's not safe. Right? You could replace us super easily.
Right.
And the reality is that there's still, it gets you 80% of the way there. It doesn't get you 100% of the way there. There's still 20% that's needed, but it takes away a lot of the clean plate work, which is just monotonous and tedious.
Yeah.
And it takes away a lot. And that's a very clear example of a place where it could clean up a lot of the work that you don't need to waste your time doing.
Right.
Focus on the finer details. And
who's ever listening or watching this is hearing me say, oh yeah, absolutely. When you said clean plate, I'm like, oh yeah, for sure. I don't know anything about what that means, but I'm just assuming it's boring, crappy work.
Yeah. It's just it's like in Photoshop when you used to have to take a section and then paste it on top of another section.
Yeah.
Well, now Photoshop, you can just paint over a section and it'll think together and be like, oh, it looks like this section and this section. Let me blend that together, put it over here. Boom, it erased it.
Crazy.
And that's AI too. That's AI working again. And it's super cool that we have access to it and can use it. But, it takes away a lot of the work that we don't need to do. It doesn't necessarily take away the work.
Yeah. It's interesting too, because I think over the last little while, and we're deviating a lot from the subject matter, but I don't care. It's so many tech companies were focusing so much on data, and even they didn't know why, and now it's becoming clear. It's like, okay, you were gathering all that data because you need either machine learning or AI to be able to do something with all of that data, right? So like you think about when you start up your Tesla. When you first started your Tesla, it said, "Hey, do you consent to having all the camera recordings and everything sent to Tesla?"
Yeah.
They don't have AI built into your car. That's not a thing. But they use all that information to use AI to get their self-driving to be notches above every single time. Yeah. And that's why it's so important. So all this data, whether you're putting your name and information in a squeeze page or a website, or submitting interest for new tights or whatever the heck you're doing online, they're using that information, and AI is creating predictive crap to find out what it is you're going to buy next. It's like mind-boggling. Everyone thinks that they're listening on your phone. They are not. They just know based on your browsing habits that it's likely that you did talk. That's the actual scary thing. It's not scary that they may or may not be listening, because the jury's out on that. They are not listening to you, especially if you have an iPhone. But what they are doing is they know based on your buying patterns and based on your browsing history and based on the like anything that is captured, like Facebook, for instance, right? They know all that stuff. And then they're going to show you something you just talked about. And you think, oh, they're listening. It's scarier than that. They knew you were going to talk about that.
Yeah, they knew ahead of time because you are predictable. Like
exactly.
You can be predicted.
Exactly. How scary is that? That's the scariest thing.
That makes me think of like those videos that you watch where it's like, never let them know your next move. And
yeah.
Somebody does something completely random.
Yeah.
It's like, take that. wasn't going to do what you thought I was going to do.
Joke's on you. I'm looking up cheetah suits now. Your whole algorithm's screwed now. That's awesome. But kind of back to what it can't do. I want to pick your brain a little bit more, because I think, like we said, it cannot replace personal connection. So, do you have examples of personal things that you're still doing that AI has not taken over within your business?
Oh man, no, it could do my whole job. No, it's so. My struggle with using AI the way that a lot of people use AI is I hate it. It's just obvious.
Yeah.
Like, write an email with AI.
Yeah.
I think you were actually talking about this. There was a guy who called someone out on writing his email from AI.
Because ChatGPT uses words that a normal human would just never use.
Exactly.
And especially based on the person, right? If you haven't spent the time to make ChatGPT learn who you are and what language you typically use, if you haven't spent that amount of time, it's going to be like speaking in Old English with the most amazing verbose vocabulary imaginable, and then everyone's going to be like, what the hell? When did Logan go to Harvard again?
Yeah.
So it does become obvious, to your point, for sure.
Yeah. So like, I'll build out like drip campaigns, and like I'll get the base of an email or something like that. But I also find it can't come up with the ideas itself, obviously, because it's not designed to do that. But I never like to do things like normally. So I'll communicate with my accountant. And I'll...
Oh my God, yeah, I know these. That's so funny.
I actually keep the emails that I send back and forth with my accountant, because she's super wacky, and we just enjoy being goofy about taxes. So like, I'll write things in like very old Englishy type of and sometimes I'll get ChatGPT to help me with like, oh man, I'm stuck on how to like write this out. So just like to be fun with it.
Yep.
But yeah, and like, so another thing too is like using generative fill in Photoshop.
Yeah.
Once again, I don't want people to think that I'm just like a kook, but I had a listing that I had a photo for the frontage of the listing, and we were going to post it on social media. So the stylization of that photo is something we already have. It's the brand that we've built out, and we use that. So that AI didn't create that. The photo itself was shot from a professional photographer who professionally edited it. That was all done. AI could probably touch it up, but it would only get it like 80% of the way there.
Right.
So then the additional part, to add a little bit of flavor into it, it was to put a giant robot standing in the living room.
I mean, why not?
Why not? I mean, how many people scrolling through their feed see houses and they're like, next.
Of course.
How many people see a giant robot in the living room like, what's going on here?
100%, dude.
Right?
Yup.
Everyone's going to stop and be like, why is there a giant robot there?
For sure.
So yeah, just having fun with it. So to answer your point, using it, but understanding that there's the personal element, that connection, not just communication, connection too.
Yep. Yeah. It's cool. I think it was from Zapier Connect that we jumped on, but it was kind of the idea where to build a business, you need to conceptualize what it is that you're going to sell. You have to build and manufacture what you're going to sell, and then you have to deliver, right? So now AI's basically gotten everything after the conceptualization. So you can have AI basically do everything else pretty easily, but you still need that human idea, and you can use it as a sounding board to our point before, but you need that human aspect of this is the idea. So I was having a discussion with my sister. She's awesome and super creative, and she had this idea, and it was, she doesn't like, I don't know why we were talking about this, but she was like, it'd be really cool to have a calendar with sexy guys on it, but they're all reading. Because she's like, I really like a sexy guy who's like an intellectual. I was like, okay, fair enough. And she was like, like imagine this guy's at a party and he's like, he's a good looking guy, but he's not fraternizing with anybody else. He's just in the corner, like reading a nice novel. And I'm like, you could build this. You could go on to DALL-E or what's the other one? Midjourney,
yeah.
And build. You can ask them to build this. So sure enough, she did it. She just went and with the prompts, and I wish I knew her exact prompts, but I saw the created images and it was hilarious. One of them was this super jacked, shirtless fireman, like waiting obviously for the siren to ring for him to slide down the fireman pole.
Yeah, the fireman, yeah.
And he's just sitting on the lounge chair waiting, reading like a novel, like very like,
stoic.
Very stoic, reading a novel, shirtless, super jacked, right? And I was like, this is amazing. Somebody would buy this. This is so good. And so I'm like, so you got help with AI to conceptualize what it is you wanted to do. The manufacturing of it's easy. You can get Vistaprint or whoever to print that for nothing. And you sell that on Etsy.
Yeah. So
like you can go from 0 to 100 with AI pretty damn quick, but you still need that actual idea, that actual conceptualization of, hey, I bet you there's a lot of gals out there that wouldn't mind seeing a jacked guy reading every single month.
Could you use AI to find out if the product will be a success? Like if you were to look through and be like, do hot guy calendars sell better than other types of calendars? Or like what are the top 10 calendars?
Man, that's a great question. I don't know. I know you can track Google searches and stuff like that with a pretty basic Google plan. You can see what people are searching for and all of that kind of stuff. But having AI predict something like that, it's a good question. You can ask it, but whether its answer will be reliable or not is a different question.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
Can you always trust AI?
No, not really. There was that story of that lawyer that I think he got disbarred. Yeah.
So what happened?
So what happened was he was citing, he was using ChatGPT and he was citing cases that didn't exist. So he was using it as jurisprudence, and then it turned out that those cases never happened. And ChatGPT's like, sorry.
We're sorry. Oh my God.
Shout out Severo. What's up, buddy?
Wow.
Yeah, dude. So that guy lost his illegal license, I'm pretty sure. I think that was the last thing that happened. I don't think he's practicing anymore.
But what? You can't.
I know, dude.
Man.
So that's the thing, man. Trust but verify,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's absolutely nuts. But back to the prompts, I think that's really important to know is that you have to understand that you are speaking to a machine. So if you are using either a chat module like Claude or OpenAI or ChatGPT or whatever you want to call it, you have to know that you're speaking to a machine. You have to speak to it in a certain way where it's going to prompt what it is that you want from it. So there's a bunch of things. We're going to include something at the end to make it very simple for you guys, but knowing what to say and how to say it, I think, is just as important as knowing that you want to go and get that information or get that thing to say it. Or so yeah, prompts super important.
I mean, like I remember the first time I was messing around with ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, say this or explain like I don't know, some sort of mortgage terminology to me. And then it explained it. And then I said, okay, now explain it like you're Dr. Seuss.
Yeah.
And then it broke it down like it was Dr. Seuss. And then
Explain it to me like I'm 3 years old.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So those are like basic prompts. But from my understanding, it can get crazy.
Yep.
And I've never gotten that crazy with it. I was banging my head against the wall with Midjourney for a little while, trying to get Midjourney to like really keep the essence of a photo and then add to it. And it always changed it. And it was infuriating. But I think it's gotten better.
It has. The image generation is insane, like just over the last 6 months. And I think that's the craziest part about this whole thing. Like 6 months ago, if you asked it to generate a human being, it would be like, okay, here's the human being's one hand. If you're listening to this, I'm holding both my hands up in a squiggly motion. It had no idea how human hands worked.
Yeah.
It just didn't know. But now if you asked it to generate a human, it can. Like when my sister generated the hot guys reading, their hands were on the book and their hands looked like normal hands.
Yeah.
But rewind 6 months ago, it would have no idea what that's supposed to look like.
Well,
His hands are weird.
Yeah.
Wow, have you ever looked at your hand, man? Wow.
But I mean, I guess you could kind of see like a computer being like, sometimes I only see 3 fingers. Sometimes I see 5 fingers.
Right.
Maybe there's 10 fingers on a hand. I don't know. I'm a machine.
Right. And it probably hasn't been specifically programmed to be like, hey, the average human being or the, anatomically correct human being has this, this, and this,
I remember messing around with Midjourney, trying to get it to figure out hands early on, and it just could not do it. I was like, 5 fingers only. And it's like, I don't know what a finger is. Are they longer?
No.
But what's cool is to that point, what they've been doing now is they've been taking images and turning them into video. So they're able to take the image and like make the person put their hand through their hair or something like that.
Badass.
And it's similar to what we were seeing with early Midjourney and early DALL-E, where it couldn't figure things out too much, and now it's got it, and it's moving on to harder and harder things. Those 5 seconds of like putting a hand through the hair could very well come into 30 seconds to like a minute from one picture.
Absolutely.
It's we're going into a place where creativity can roam wild.
Yep. It's wild what it's able to do. One of the things that blew my mind was there was this scam going around, and it was some stupid crypto Ponzi scheme bullshit thing. Excuse my French. But what happened was 2 people in the same week asked me about it. Like, hey, have you heard about this? And I'm like, yeah, it's a Ponzi scheme. Like it's fake. You're gonna lose all your money. Don't do anything with it. And
this is probably the most important part of the whole podcast. What is it?
I don't remember the name, to be honest.
Podcast over.
Oh, darn it. No, it'll come to me. I'm sure of it. No, it's not coming now. But anyway, so it was, absolutely was a scam. Like it just reeked. And this is how you know for sure it's a scam, because my mother-in-law was like, have you heard about this thing? And I'm like, yeah, it's a scam. And she's like, really? But the mayor of Toronto was talking about it.
Oh, no.
Bro, they deep faked with AI. They used the avatar of whatever his name, Doug Ford.
Yeah.
It's Doug Ford.
Doug Ford, yeah.
Yeah, they
Rob
used
Ford
the avatar of him talking about this, saying that like Elon Musk was invested in it and all this amazing stuff. And I'm like, holy crap, that's how you know it's a scam, because there's no way in hell that speech actually happened.
That's the nefarious side of this, is that as things get better and people don't know about it yet, people are going to do stuff like that to unsuspecting, civilians and people who are not paying attention to it.
100%. And it's scary because it was, I'm imagining myself if I was, an older lady or even just an older guy, and I'm not super great with English or French, for instance, and I see something like that, like I'm getting scammed. 100%. It's scary as all hell. But floating to the positive side of all that is I'm thinking about it from a real estate perspective, and I know how powerful it is to send videos to people. So if you can get a base avatar of John Ehrlich and you've got inbound leads coming in, and as soon as you finish a conversation with them, you send an automated AI generated based on your avatar little thank you for speaking with me today. How insane is that?
That's huge.
So
that
that-
gives you such a leg up.
Again, it replaces communication. It's not building a real connection. The real connection comes when you meet them in person, you get the handshake, and you sign the agreement, and you're working with them. But the communication aspect, if you know it takes 8 to 15 communications to be able to get that connection opportunity, that's insane. So I'm really excited for that.
But it gives you another opportunity to play there too. I think of when we were in Zapier Connect and we were learning about one of the things that they were talking about with ChatGPT 4, or just ChatGPT in general. The guy who had created it, he was saying that they asked, what was one of the use cases you weren't expecting? And he said it was parents sitting with their children and creating stories.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, they did not expect that many people to use it at nighttime for nighttime stories for their kids.
Wow.
And I was like, that's insane. That's such a
so
positive, cool fun. Like you get shivers thinking about it.
Yeah.
But then take this idea and move that into pictures that can move, right? And it's so funny to say moving pictures. Because back in the day, they used to be like, oh, it's the moving pictures.
Yeah.
These are movies. Now we're taking pictures and we're making them move.
Yeah.
They're moving pictures again. We have the ability to create these fun stories that we could share with our children, right?
Yeah.
And then we could make them be a part of it. They can get engaged in it and excited about storytelling.
Yeah.
And then we can make those imaginative worlds come to life with the click of a button.
Yeah.
So if we were to look at that from a business standpoint, you could flavor the communication that you have with specific people. If somebody tells you something about their dog, right? And then you could send them something about a dog that is you know, like their dog, a little story that you can send over.
Yep.
Little things like that can really separate you from other people. It'll help with the communication, but the connection needs to come from you as the individual who knows how to connect with people.
Right. And it still needs that human flavor of, hey, I know I spoke to them about X, deliver me something with X in it.
Yeah.
Type thing. But yeah, I think that's probably, like I said, the avatar stuff is probably what I'm most excited for. I think it's really cool what it's been able to do to kind of larger scale companies in terms of updating, just having like an AI powered training manual and AI powered glossary of, expectations within that company. And then from a customer support standpoint, being able to reach out and say, hey, I need help with X, Y, or Z. The AI knows everything about your every single procedure. It knows everything because it can learn it in 7 seconds.
Yeah.
Probably less. I probably just sounded really silly, but whatever. So it learns it all, so it can deliver it so that you don't eventually have to speak with a human unless for some reason the AI can't help you. But it's gonna be amazing enough where most of the time you won't need to speak to a human. And I think that's where actually a lot of the jobs are gonna fall off. I think it's like basic level customer support. Instead of needing 200 people in a call center, you might only need 50.
Yeah, they're resolving tickets a lot quicker and a lot more affordably because they're just running it through the AI, predictive texts, scripts.
Apple's had it forever. If you call 1-800-MY-APPLE, you're prompted immediately with something that says, "Hi, I'm a fully, autonomous whatever that can handle complete sentences. Tell me what you're calling about."
Yeah.
And then you could say, my iPhone broke, or, I'm having trouble with my MacBook or something. And it'll know the phone you're calling from. It'll know all of that stuff. I don't know if it's AI, but imagine if you had something like that was voice, because they have that too.
Yep.
So if you have something like that is voice and that can handle all of that. We looked into that actually for our inbound leads as well. It's like, hey, can we get an AI person to call and at least ask the qualifying questions we need to ask to then spit it out to the agents on the team?
Yeah.
It's just not there yet.
Yeah.
But man, is it close. If it's anything like the pictures, man, it's coming soon.
It's coming soon. It will be here soon, but it's for basic stuff like that. Like it's to get the base information.
Yep.
I think anyone can attest to the fact that when they go through they have a problem and they try to reach out to a company, if they can't get in touch with a human, it can be very frustrating.
Yep.
If they have a legitimate problem.
Right.
If it's just like, have you turned it on and off? Like, well, if you haven't done that yet, you shouldn't be calling. By the time I get to calling,
it's only happened to me like once or twice. No big deal. Did you turn it off? No. Yeah, of course I did. Oops.
That's not actually going to fix it. It fixed it.
Oh, damn it. It fixed it.
I had to reset the VRAM. But that's the thing. So it's kind of taking over the those types of jobs where you don't necessarily need a human. It's getting you 80% of the way there, right?
Do you remember being in the band back in the day? And we had, I don't remember if you remember this, but I don't remember if it was Emergenza, but it was some competition we were in when we were in the band. And for whatever reason, if the winner or whoever got to play with whatever headlining act it was had to be the one with the most listens on their website. Does this ring a bell at all?
Yeah, I don't know if it was Emergenza though.
I ended up setting up a macro at Connor's house. And so the macro was programmed to click here, wait 5 seconds, click here, wait 10 seconds, click over there, wait 10 seconds. And so that's like that's what a basic macro will do if you install it on your computer. Problem is, if your cat kicks your mouse a little bit, you're screwed. It won't work because it knows based on where your mouse started to go down X amount of pixels, left X amount of pixels, click, go up, like that, right? So we set up this macro and we ended up winning. Obviously, I think that's why we ended up playing with
Threat Signal. Or
no,
not Threat Signal.
it could have been Threat Signal or it could have been the ska band that we opened for.
Not Crush Luther. Was it Crush
Yeah,
Luther?
it was. That was one of them. Yeah, it could have been that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was one of the reasons we won it because Connor and I set up that macro.
Hilarious.
Now with AI, it removes the need for the mouse to be like, the mouse can be anywhere and it doesn't matter because it literally knows your computer. It knows how to open an application. It knows how to perform, a refresh on the thing to get the recycling of the listens or whatever task you need it to do.
Yeah.
There's insane AIs that will literally track your day to day. If you're finding yourself doing like mostly clerical work every single day, you can have it learn what it is that you do on a day-to-day basis. And if it's repetitive whatsoever, it'll isolate what it's able to do automatically.
Whoa, so it can follow you and figure out what you do?
Correct.
And then break it down and be like, yeah, AI could do these things
exactly.
for you instead?
Yep. And it'll make suggestions like, hey, we can't do this, but this other thing can do that. This other AI is really good at that. So we can plug in and use that if you want to. It's mind-bogglingly sick.
Is it like what's called a camera or something that follows you?
No, it literally it plugs in and piggybacks off your entire computer. So it just learns like what applications you're opening, what you're doing with those applications. And if it's the same crap all the time, it can repeat those actions automatically for you. So what I normally recommend to people who are getting into AI is start with that, have this thing. And by the way, guys, at the end of this episode, we're opening up a link. You can go to eliteunleash.com. And you'll have the access to all of our favorite AI tools. This is probably going to be right at the top of the list. And it will watch you for every single day. And I recommend doing it for a full week and listening to its suggestions at the end of the week. Like, hey, this is what I can do. This is what I can automate for you. This is what I can't automate for you. But here's some AI tools that we think will make it go faster, though.
Hilarious.
Yeah. So,
wow. I know it's funny, we were talking about this before we got into filming. Samsung actually was working on droids for your house.
Yeah, this blew my mind.
Yeah, super, super cool idea. So, and I guess they're probably still doing it, but it's basically for when your house gets smart homed up enough, the droids will follow you around and they'll know what you like to do and they'll know what you do and they'll do it for you. So like you walk into a room and you turn the lights on. Well, no, they'll turn the lights on for you because they know you're walking in that room. They'll something will spill and they'll send the vacuum to go and clean it and they'll send the vacuum back and it'll be targeted so that it's not like, oh, the vacuum just got unleashed and it's going to have to go do the whole house now. No, it's going to go and fix that one mess.
Yeah.
So kind of neat that it's getting to that point.
Yep.
Too. That's like Jetsons,
Totally. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We don't have flying cars, but at least AI is coming along.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
We're getting there.
There was something else I wanted to say about the following the thing, but I'm forgetting what it is now.
Well, that's because I had heard about the pin. There's this thing going around social media of like an AI pin, and it's supposed to learn you as well and do something with AI. So when you were saying that it plugs in and it follows you,
yeah,
I was thinking that it was this pin.
Oh, you were thinking it was like literally following you.
Yeah, it was literally like tracking every single thing you do every day, and it's like, hey, by the way, if you're going to McDonald's to get coffee, we could just Uber Eats you coffee directly to your mouth. But yeah, So interesting. There's so many more applications for AI if we let our imaginations run wild. But I think the biggest thing is that it's a tool to be used more than it's something to be afraid of.
Absolutely. I think that it starts with getting curious about it. That's how it starts, because you're either going to be an early adopter or you're not. But if you're an early adopter and you're learning how this thing can actually be your exoskeleton, man, sky's the limit. You're going to be so much more productive. I just don't understand what we do with all this time we're saving. I don't remember who I was talking to, but man, do you remember like Thursday, Friday night, sometimes, you'd be at home and your mom or dad is like, hey, let's go to Blockbuster. It's like 6:00 at night. Okay. You just maybe you're going to have dinner when you come back. Maybe you just finished dinner, you had an early dinner. But you and your siblings, you put your freaking boots on or your shoes on, you walk out to the car, you get into the car. That's a freaking journey in and of itself. And you drive like 15, 20 minutes to the Blockbuster. Maybe it's 30, but let's call it 15, 20 minutes. There's no way you're spending less than 30 minutes in Blockbuster.
Oh yeah, because there's so much cool stuff there.
So much cool stuff. They want you to stay. They want you to rent multiple movies, whatever. But you're spending every week, you're spending like 30 minutes, maybe more, maybe an hour in Blockbuster. And then you're coming home. And so, I don't know about you, but I wasn't allowed to buy candy at Blockbuster. That was for like bougie level people that had just had, FU money. You know what I mean? We had to go across the street or down the street to like one of the pharmacies that were doing like 2 chocolate bars for $1.
Hilarious.
So we'd have to another stop, and then we'd go home. Then we'd watch the thing. And I'm thinking, like, how did my mom and dad have time for that?
Yeah.
I barely have time to press go on Netflix. And then if we start, we're looking for a movie for 30 minutes. I'm like, well, that's all the time we had.
Yeah.
Now we can't watch a movie because we spent too much time looking for it. So AI is great, but like, from a conceptual standpoint, I don't know what the hell we're going to do with all this saved time. And I think it's just going to get poured into more work.
Probably. Or it's going to become, you would drive to the store, you'd rent the movie, you'd get home, you'd prepare to watch the movie, and you'd watch the movie. Now it's, well, you're watching 2 movies. And I think that's what people are doing.
Really?
They're watching
They're
an
spending
extra
more
movie.
time?
Yeah. Oh. That's it. I think that's what's happening. It's actually kind of funny. You were talking about your whole, like the Blockbuster experience. And I so vividly remember Blockbuster was about to close and we were going to go and rent a video game. We had scrounged up just enough money to rent the video game.
Yeah.
And we literally ran there because no one had a car.
Right.
We couldn't drive. So we literally just ran there, and we're all there trying to run from like Descazier and Pierrefonds to St. Charles. Like,
oh my God, that's far.
It's far, especially when you're kids.
Yeah.
And we're just like booking it, trying to get there before it closes. And it's like, it was an experience. It was such an experience. But now kids aren't ever going to have that running to Blockbuster before it closes experience, because the PlayStation Network is always open. Steam is always open.
Pretty soon they're just going to double tap on their temple right there, and they're just going to be playing a
That's
video
it.
game.
Neuralink straight into a video game.
Yeah.
So,
but it's nothing to be scared of.
well, I think AR instead of VR. I think there's going to be a lot of cool applications for AR for sure. And if
especially in real estate, actually, I think there's going to be massive applications there.
Yep.
Thanks, you guys, so much for tuning in today and joining our discussion about AI. Once again, go to eliteunleash.com to download our favorite AI tools that we use every day. Thanks so much for tuning in today, guys, and we look forward to seeing you next time.
The podcast for hustlers looking to level up their lives.
Damn right.
Hell yeah.